Everyone, so this is the second question in tutorial sheet 4 under matrices. So I'm going to start with the first question here. Then these questions looks to be straightforward, but I'll try my best to answer all of them. So we start. So the first question is I is equal to, so sorry, not I is equal. Okay, the first question is I, and then it's saying we find A transpose, then everything again transpose. So before we start, we first have to find A transpose before we transpose the A transpose. So I'm going to find A transpose. So A transpose is going to be here. So for you to transpose a matrix, you just turn all the columns into rows and all the rows into columns. So in short, what I'm trying to say is if A, let me just copy A here. Okay, so A is equal to 3, and then we have 2, we have 1, -1, and then there's 0 here, 5, 0, 1, 2. So 3, 2, 1, 5, 0, -1, 0, 1, 2. So this is A. So for you to find A transpose, the transpose of this matrix, so A transpose, so A transpose is going to be, you just change all the rows into columns. So I'll start with this one, 3, 5, 0. I'll write it into this row, 3, 5, 0, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, and then lastly I have 1, -1, 2, 1, -1, and then 2. Then what you should note is that the leading diagonal is always maintained, this one, 3, 0, 2. So if you find that these numbers are not the way are not consecutive with the first matrix that you had, just know that you've made a mistake somewhere. So now we go on to finding our final answer, which is A transpose, and then you transpose the A transpose again. So A transpose, again we transpose the A transpose, so meaning we're transposing this same matrix here. And then normally what happens when you transpose the matrix 2 times, it always goes back to the same matrix. So we'll change these rows into columns. So we're going to write 3, 2, 1, and then we have 5, 0, -1, then we have 0, 1, 2. So this is our answer for the first part here, for the first part of the question. This is the answer. Let us answer B. Sorry, the second question. So the second question there is A, B, and then transpose this. So again, in the same way as I said in the first question, you guys, when mathematics is mathematics, and all the rules of mathematics apply on every operation of mathematics. So what you should know is that first thing, before you do anything, you follow BODMAS, and then following BODMAS tells us that we are supposed to start with brackets. So meaning I'm going to start by opening the brackets here. So AB transpose. So I'll first multiply A and B. Let me write A. So my A is 3, 2, 1, negative 1, 0, 5, there is 0 there, there is 1, there is 2. And then I'm going to multiply it with my B. So I'm going to multiply A and B, and then I'll come and transpose the answer at the end. So what is my B there? B is 2, negative 3, and 5. There is 1, 0, 0. And then there is 2, 3, then negative 1. So we start now multiplying these. So I'll open these brackets. Okay, so we are going to be, the way you multiply matrices, you multiply them row by column. Hope we all know that by this time. It is a row by column multiplication. So meaning, let me just write AB this side. So that is my AB. AB is equal to that. And then the way we multiply row by column is that you start multiplying this row by the first column, the first row by the first column, the second row by the second column, the third row by the third column there. So we start here. 3 times 2, 3 times 2 you get 6, and then 2 times 1 you get positive 2, and then 1 times 2 you get a 2. 3 times negative 3 you get your negative 9 there. Then 2 times 0 you get your 0. Then 1 times 3 you get your 3. Then 3 times 5 you get your 15. 2 times 0 you get your 0. And then 1 times negative 1 you get your negative 1. Then you go in the second, when you go in the second row, you also go in the second row this side. So 5 times 2 you get your 10. Then 0 times 1, 0 times 1 you get your 0. Negative 1 times 2 you get your negative 2. And then we move on to the next one. 0 times negative 3 you get your negative 15 there. Then 0 times 0 you get your 0. And then negative 1 times 3 you get your negative 3. Okay, and then we move on to the last column this side. 5 times 5 you get your 25. And then 0 times 0 you get your 0. Negative 1 times negative 1, that is going to give you negative 1 times negative 1, you're going to get a positive 1. So we move on to the next row. 0 times 2 you get your 0. 1 times 1 you get your 1. So positive 1. And then 2 times 2 you get your 4. So positive 4. And then we move on to the next column. 0 times 3 you get your 0. 1 times 0 you get your 0. And then 2 times 3 you get your 6. Then you move on to the last column. 0 times 5 you get your 0. 1 times 0 you get your 0. Then lastly 2 times negative 1 you get your negative 2 there. then we're just now remaining with finding the final answer. So the final answer here will give us when you add 6 plus 2 plus 2, you get your 10 there. You get your 10. Then 10 minus 2 there, 10 plus 0 minus 2, you get your 8. So then 1 plus 4, you get your 5. Then negative 9 plus 3, you get your negative 6 there. And then negative 15 minus 3, you get your negative 18. And then this is negative 18. Okay. And then you move on to the next one there. 0 plus 0 plus 6, you get your positive 6 there. 15 minus 1, 15 plus 0 minus 1, you get your 14 there. And then 25 plus 1, you get your 26. And then 0 plus 0 minus 2. So 0 plus 0, and then minus 2, you get your negative 2 there. So this is going to be your answer, but remember we are not done with the question. It says A times B transpose. So I've just finished multiplying the matrices. Now we need to transpose our matrix. So this is our A times B. Now let us find the A times B transpose. So A times B transpose is going to be equal to, so what you do here, this 10 does not change and this negative 2 does not change. So that is just a simple secret that you should know. And then this leading diagonal also does not change. In short, the leading diagonal does not change. So what I'll do is I'll write my 10 there. I'll change all the rows into columns and all the columns into rows. So this 10, this column 10, 8 and 5 will go into the first row there. 10, 8 and 5. And then the second column will go into the second row to be negative 6, negative 18, and then negative 6, negative 18, and then 6. And then we move on, the last row, the last column there will go into the last row, which will be 14, and then we have 26, and then negative 2 there. Have you seen this leading diagonal has not changed? So this tells us that our answer is correct. We quickly move on to the next question there. So the next question says B transpose times A transpose. So what we're going to do is just to transpose our A and our B. So let me just write it here since it's a short question. So we first find, so let me just cut here. Okay. So our B transpose is equal to B is this one. So when you transpose B, you change all the rows into columns. So I'll start writing here 2, 1, 2, and then I'll write negative 3, 0, 3, and then I'll write 5, 0, negative 1. So this is my B transpose. And then let me also find A transpose. A transpose. So A transpose will be nothing but, you also do the same. You change the rows into the columns. You move the rows into the columns. So this is going to be 3, 5, then 0, 350, and then we are going to have 2 0 negative 1, oh sorry, 2 0, and then lastly we have 1, and then we have this is 350 201, and then we have 1 negative 1 and then 2. So prove that by checking the leading diagonal. It doesn't change. So after finding this, according to the question, after finding this, you are now, after finding A transpose and B transpose, you just have now to multiply them. And by this time I am sure you know how to multiply matrices, just the way we are just from multiplying this A times B. That's the way you multiply B transpose times A transpose. Same applies to A transpose times B transpose. You multiply them in the same way. So having found A transpose and B transpose, it is easier now to multiply, and I guess everyone can do that. So if you want, you can solve it and then forward your solutions to me. I check if your answer is correct. So now we move on to this one. So this one, as I earlier on said, mathematics is mathematics, so you don't have to run away from the rules of mathematics. Anytime you're solving mathematics, put all your rules on your fingers. Put all the rules of mathematics on your fingers. Don't forget any. So even here we're just going to follow BODMAS, meaning we're just going to find A plus B, and then after adding A and B, then you transpose the answer. And then here, let me just explain the last one before I do the fourth one. The last one here is just A transpose plus B transpose. So in short, let me answer the last one before I answer the second last, then B. Okay. So A transpose, this is question 5, which says A. So A transpose plus B. So A transpose plus B transpose is just equal to, so our A transpose is this, you add it with B. So we're going to be adding numbers from A, we're going to add numbers of A to B. So 3 plus, you, of course when you're adding matrices, you add the corresponding entries. So this 3 is corresponding to these 2. So we're going to add 3 plus 2, which will give you 5. You add 5 plus 1, you get 6. You add 2 plus 0, you get 2. Then you add negative 3 plus 2, you get your negative 1 there. 0 plus 0, you get a 0. 3 plus 1, you get your 4. 5 plus 1, you get your 6. 0 plus negative 1, you get your negative 1. Negative 1 plus 2, you get your 1. So this is your A transpose plus B transpose. So this is your final answer. Oh, sorry. This is your final answer for question 5. Let me now answer question 4. Alright. So for question 4, we follow BODMAS as I said. We follow BODMAS. So what we do is we first add A and B, because we are first going to open the brackets. So we first find A plus B. Then lastly we'll come and transpose the matrix. So I'll first find A plus B. So A plus B. So A plus B will be, I'll be adding numbers from there to there, to the corresponding entries in B, from A to corresponding entries in B. So 3 plus 2, you get your 5. 3 plus 2, you get your 5, and then you have 2 plus 3, 2 plus 3, oh sorry, 2 plus negative 3, you get your, or saying 2 plus negative 3, which is just the same as 2 minus 3, which will give you negative 1. So negative 1 there. Then 1 plus 5, you get your 6. And then 5 plus 1, you get your 6. 0 plus 0, you get a 0. Negative 1 plus 0. Negative 1 plus 0, you get your negative 1. 0 plus 2, 0 plus 2, you get your 2. Then you have 1 plus 3, you get your 4 there. Then 2 plus negative 1, that will give you positive 1 there. And then lastly, you just transpose your answer now. So A plus B transpose now. So A plus B transpose, you just transpose your final answer. So this is going to be, you change your rows into your columns. So it's going to be 5, I'm changing this 5, 6, 2. Then we have negative 1, 0, 4. And then we have 2, negative 1, 0, 4. Sorry, not 2. So we have negative 1, 0, 4. And then we have 6, negative 1. And then we have 1 there. So 5, 6, 2, negative 1, 0, 4, 6, negative 1, 1. So this is your final answer. Yes, so thank you very much for watching the video. Make sure you don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, corrections or contributions, you can send them to this line here on WhatsApp, and I'll be there to respond. Thank you very much. See you in the next tutorial video.